Hello friends, it's Kathy Clement with Kathy by Design. Welcome to Make and Take Tuesday. This is a weekly tutorial series that I do here on my YouTube channel where I share a new product, project, technique, design, die, and we make something beautiful together. All this year in 2023, we've been working with Graphic 45's Flower Market collection to make a folio of the month. This has been a fun series and we're almost at the end. We're almost at the end, my friends. Today we are making the October folio. So let me just show you very quickly what you will need. You will need a sheet from your 8x8, one each of the cut-aparts and of the floral pattern, and then the same from the 12x12, a sheet of the floral and a sheet of the cut-aparts. And go ahead and cut apart these cut-apart sheets. And then I always have to bring in a guest star because the patterns in this collection are limited for a folio, so I have to supplement. And I went searching in my stash and I found that Prima, their Hello Pink Autumn, actually works pretty well with this collection, especially this plaid looks great. There's a little bit of lavender in here that picks up on the lavender that is in the background of these. So I've gone into my A4 pad and I pulled this one sheet of the mums and the pumpkins and this plaid, and then I pulled this knit sweater piece. And what I'm looking for is color tones that match up. So even if you don't have this paper collection, here's the hint. You know, there's different hues of purple, different hues of pink. You want to try to find hues that work. If you'll look, this chocolatey brown is picked up in the wings of the butterfly. And this sort of dusty pink is in the center of the flowers. So this is what makes it work together. That's what I'm looking for. So then this is another cut apart sheet. This has the chocolate brown on the back and this looks particularly beautiful. It just makes these pastels pop. So I have two sheets of that and we might use some of these images. We'll see how that goes. And then we have this leaf, which I wasn't sure about this side, but I very much like this side with it. Then I have another big 12x12 sheet of the plaid and the pumpkins and mums. So those are our guest stars for this month. And that's what we'll be working with. You can look through your stash and see what works. Then from your chipboard, this sweet little charm, I had a leftover asters from earlier, and that goes really well with this. We've got this little die cut piece, this little scalloped circle, this little die cut piece, this pretty little label, and then these two journal cards. So that's what you want from your Graphic 45 stash. Then I also had a few pieces of the purple pattern in solids left, which we'll use for photo mats and that sort of thing. If you have more of that, feel free to use it. That's all I have left of the purple. Then I pulled out the ephemera pack from Hello Pink Autumn just in case, and also the chipboard because I think there are some pieces in here that we'll be able to use. And then for dies, I pulled out my Graphic 45 clock. I've pulled out the file folder, the little tag and pocket, ATC tag and pocket, the ATC policy envelope, the butterflies, this lacy border. We use these pretty much every month. And then also from my Annette Green dies from Elizabeth Craft, I've got these small doilies and large doilies, these lacy borders, and the postage stamps. So we'll probably use those as well. So that is what we're doing. Oh yeah, and then for our cardstock base, I decided this is a purple month. So I just went with it. But to contrast, I chose this Stampin' Up! Blackberry Bliss Cardstock. The darkness of this is a really rich deep, deep, deep purple. And it looks beautiful with the pastels. And then this is Gina K, Lovely Lavender. And this is Michael's Recollections Rose Petals. These are all 100 to 110 pound cardstock. So there you go. There's our cardstock. You can see it's going to be pretty. I like to use a lot of matting to make these images pop. So let me clear off my desk, bring in my scoring tool, and we will get started making the folio base. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to join two 8.5 by 11 inch pieces of this Blackberry Bliss cardstock. And you can see I just put 1/4 inch Scor-Tape down and overlapped over the Scor-Tape to make a nice long piece of paper. And then this goes on our scoring tool. And I'm changing the spine up just a little bit this time because I feel like we need the extra space. So we are scoring this at 3 3/4, 4 and 4 1/4. Then we're folding on that 4 1/4 inch line. And we're coming down here and scoring at 8.5 and at 9. And then this folds like this. This little middle score on the pocket, just pinch it together to make like a pleated pocket. And then there's the cover. And this is the basics. Then to add the little side wings, for the side pieces, you need two 8.5 by 8 1/4 inch pieces of this same Blackberry cardstock. And you're going to score at 1/2, and then you're going to go over 3/8 of an inch and score again. You're going to put your 1/4 inch Scor-Tape on the 1/2 inch flap. Here's our pocket down here at the bottom. Lay this down flat. Remove. I'm going to go ahead and remove the liner. Oops. So center this up, top and bottom. Fold that flap over. Okay, so there's our left hand flap. And you can see you've got this 3/8 of an inch spine. And then you're going to come over here and do the same thing on the right. So there's our left hand flap, there's our right hand flap. Well, let me do it like this. There's our pocket. There's our left hand flap, our right hand flap, and our front cover. And that creates our little folio base. The next thing we want to do is create our cover art. So I have from the lilac, the soft lilac paper, I've cut an 8 3/8 inch square. And then of the rose petals, I've cut an 1/8 and 1/8 inch square. And then from the 8 by 8 papers, I cut it vertically, so we had a 4 by 8 panel, and then I cut that into 4 1-inch by 4-inch panels. And I'm going to show you how to create these mitered corners. A lot of you have seen me do this over and over again, so it won't hurt my feelings if you decide to skip this part. I'm looking here, I want my butterflies to be right side up. and the florals can go side to side. So this is how we want this laid out. You're just going to take these two pieces and you're going to put them together so that they're perpendicular. And then you're going to cut from the corner to the outside edge. And this is going to make a mitered corner. You're going to do the same thing over here. You're going to repeat it down here. And then last but not least, you're going to do it right here. The main thing is to make sure that your paper is truly perpendicular. Okay. So I'm going to stitch this together on my sewing machine. And because of that, I'm just going to run a little bead of glue to hold this in place. And I'm going to center this first one up. So that I have just a little bit of that soft pink peeking through. And then you can see this is how they line up. And they line up very nicely. Okay, so you're just going to go all the way around and do the same thing with these corners. All right, friends, so you can see I've stitched this together on my machine. It looks really good. And I'll just show I usually come in very quickly and just add in, if I can, a little bit of adhesive right in the corners to make sure that they're really glued down well. But you can see how nice those mitered corners look, and it's a real paper saver too, which is always nice. Okay, so let's see, there's our butterfly. Then I took our large Cosmos image and I matted it on slightly larger panels of the lavender and the blackberry and stitched around that. And our little October calendar, same thing, and stitched around that. And I'm just going to take my adhesive here. And I want to put this right about here. Okay. And then also I've got these border pieces that I've cut off. And I'm going to put some adhesive on them. This is just to add another layer of interest. Here we go. And then another one. Okay. And now we're ready to glue this entire thing down on our cover. Okay. I love how that blackberry makes everything pop. Then we're going to take our little number 10, put it right here, and I die cut these with a stitched circle die. It makes them look so pretty. So just like that. I'm going to tuck just a little piece of foam tape back behind that so that it sits level. There we go. And then along the bottom, the word harmony. And I'm going to do the same thing here, a little piece of foam tape on this one end. That looks good. And then I took the small joyful from the 8x8 and matted it on a scrap of my blackberry. And it's going to go right up here in the corner. And then we've got this sweet little charm. It's going to go right here. And that is our cover. So pretty and really simple. I love this layout. Has just worked so well each month. So now we're going to set this aside and then we'll go to work on the inside. Now we're going to go to work on this inside top flap, and I've cut a 12x8 and a 1/4 inch piece of my Prima paper, and we're actually going to build this off the page. It's a whole lot easier to do. Those folios are big. So down here on the bottom, well, first before I do that, I'm getting ahead of myself. I've got one of these pretty lacy edges. And I'm going to put this right along the edge of my paper, like this. Okay, just like that. Then I want to take our little tag and pocket combo. Oops. And this is going to go right here, like that. And then I die cut this adorable tag using the patterns and solids and put a little pull tab on it. And then this one, of course, is cut from the Prima collection. So these are going to go right here. And the little chipboard heart on the back tag keeps it from falling down inside the pocket. And then I've got this sweet little doily It's going to go up here. I did not cut the center out, although I could have. And I'm going to take my little butterfly and put it here at an angle. So here's our layout for the inside. Here's our file folder pocket that I make just by wrapping the border strip around the pocket. Then I added a chipboard piece here, and these are just little die cut postage stamp frames from Annette, and then I just cut little pieces of paper here. I made a little paper clip embellishment. I left this one exactly like it is. I put our little fall asters in here. Here is our October calendar, and I'm leaving these blank. You can add photos or whatever. This is a small doily from Annette with a little butterfly. There's still room to do a little journaling here. But this paper is so pretty, I don't want to add any more than what we've done. So that takes care of this top flip page. Now we're going to work on this right-hand flip page. This is our pocket folio page. I'm going to open this out so I can see what I'm doing here. And our pocket's going to be on the left. Our background page is going to be on the right. This is the other half of that 4x8 that we cut when we did the border for our front cover. And this is going to go down. So I went searching. I'm a little low on my Pink Autumn paper, and this is Darcel. This is a very neutral. It's got just kind of a hazy purple, so it works, and it looks great with the plaid too. So, see, really works. So that's a good find. I cut this to 5 inches by 9 inches, then scored 1/2 inch on the top, bottom, and sides. A lot of the purple shades in this are too plummy or too blue. They're either too plum or they're too blue. Either they have too much red or they have too much blue in them. But this neutral worked really well. And I'll show you what I mean. See, this is technically purple, but it's not a great match for this paper collection, in my opinion, because it's too red and too blue. However, this beautiful neutral is fantastic. That looks really good. Then I'm going to take my fancy clock die. I love this die, but it sure is tricky to trim out. And I should have used that adhesive, you know, die cut through the adhesive so I could just peel it off and stick, but this works too. It's just a little more labor intensive is all. Here we go. And then I've got my clock, which kind of pulls the lavender shades back in, so it works. See how pretty that looks? That's nice. And then I've got the word fall to go across the top. And then our little die cut label. So you can add a date or a name or something right there. Okay, so that is our right-hand page. Now we just have to make our 6x6 folio that tucks inside. I've got two pieces of my Blackberry cardstock. One is 6x6, the other is 6.5 plus about a 1/16 of an inch by 6, and I scored along the top to make this little 6x6 folio base. So here's our folio. I've lined the inside with 5 3/4 inch pieces of the lilac, of the lavender, and of the patterns and solids. That's just real simple. You can journal and you can add photo. And then on the front, I had to piece together the lavender, but it's going to be okay because this is what we're going to do. I've got this piece. The lavender is 5 7/8. This is 5 3/4. Actually, let me do this the other way. I've left the branding strip on because it's pretty and it helps stretch my papers a little bit. And then I've cut another 5 3/4 by, I think this is 1.5. See if it matches up better this way. Well, no, it doesn't, but that's okay because I'm going to take Annette's pretty little border and glue it down right there. And then I've matted the smaller Cosmos image. I'm going to cut my doily in half. And I'm going to put half of it up here. And I'm going to put the other half of it down here. And then put that down. Isn't that pretty? Just like this. I'm going to take our little 10 that we cut out from the 8 by 8 and put it right here. And this little guy goes right here. And that finishes that off, and that is super sweet. And then this will fit into our pocket. And it looks really pretty with the top. Just, this is a very pretty combination. I'm pleased with how this is turning out. So before we do anything else, we want to add our magnets. I want to go ahead and set our magnets now. So I'm using these basic gray large magnetic snaps. And I want to put one right here. And I'm just going to hold that in place with a little bit of adhesive in case the adhesive backing wears off. Then I'm going to put my other one right there. And remove the adhesive backing. I'm making sure I'm lined up straight. And lined up straight. press that one in place. Ooh, that's really close. I should have come in a little bit. Don't go quite that close to the edge. That's going to be tricky, but we will make it work. I want to go to work on this center pocket, and the first thing I did was line it with an 8 3/8 by 5-inch piece of our lavender, and then I cut an 8 1/8 inch by 5-inch. Okay, so this is 5 1/4 and this is 5. So 8 1/8 by 5, 8 3/8 by 5 1/4. Now we're going to add our gussets to our pocket. And I've cut 2 gussets that are just over 3.5 by 1 inch, and then I scored them in half at 1/2 inch to make these little flaps. And we line these up so that the folded edge goes right along this outside edge like this, and the top lines up with the top, but you never actually see them. It's a beautiful thing. And what they do is they give you the full width of your pocket. So you don't have to worry about losing. You can lose up to 1/2 inch of your pocket width by using adhesive, or more depending on the width of your adhesive. So this is just one of my favorite things to do. I'm just going to press those down. Then I lined my pocket with this sweater knit, and this is cut to 8 1/8, and then the depth of our pocket total is 3 3/4. So I lined it with a 3.5 inch piece by an 8 3/8 inch piece of our lavender. And then this was just a little strip of the plaid that I had. This will tie this to the top, and I put that in there. So on the pocket, I want to take one of my pretty doilies from Annette, and I put this down right here, and then I've got this sweet little pumpkin and vine that has the purples in it. And you probably saw that I didn't press that down very hard. That's because I want to sit my pumpkin down inside the doily, but I needed to know where to place it. So there's that. That's really pretty. And then in the pocket, we'll figure out what goes in there. I think we usually put, I forget what, but we'll find something and we'll put it in there. All right, so there's the basics of our center pocket done so that you know how to do that. For this inside right-hand flap, I had the rest of that piece of Darcel that I trimmed to 7 3/8 by 8. And then I took this large image from our 12 by 12 piece of Flower Market, and I scored just about, oh, it's not even 3/8 of an inch. It's just barely over 1/4 of an inch to make a little flap page. I'm going to have to put this really close to the edge because of where that magnet is sitting. There we go. And that's why I used the really strong magnet, because I knew I was going to have to get through a couple layers of paper. Then over here on the left, I've taken this piece of our Hello Pink Autumn, and this is also 7 3/8. And I used the whole 11-inch, it's 11.5 inches, and I scored it at 8 1/8 inch. And then this has like a little top flap on it. It's real cute. And this goes right here. So see, our magnet will work really well that way. All right, then I'll just dress those up with whatever I decide to use. All right, friends, we're on day 2. We're going to try to finish this up today. I left you off yesterday when I had to quit and go fix dinner with this little flip up page. And on the inside, I just did a simple gusseted pocket with our, let me see if I can get this up here where you can see. There we go. It's hard, the folio is big. I just did a gusset, I added gussets to the sides and bottom of our 6x4 journal card. Put this doily around the sentiment in the center and added this little butterfly to dress up the pocket. And then in the pocket, we have our large tag and we have our journal card that go in like this. And then I added a postage stamp here, a large postage stamp here and here. And then I had this fun idea. I'm going to take this large die cut circle. This is the center of, I think, a doily that I cut out. So this is going to go here, like this. Then I've got, this is also the center of a doily, but I'm just going to put adhesive on the bottom edge like that and tuck this in here. And then this is the center of the clock, and I'm going to do a similar thing here. Let's see. I think right here is where I want it to be. And then this goes here. It's kind of fun, these overlapping circles is kind of a neat design feature. I'm going to tuck this pretty butterfly in here and add this sweet bird here, and that dresses up that page. So now you can add a little journaling here. We could tuck a pretty flower in here like that. So it just creates a little fun tuck spot page. So that is this, that's the left-hand flap page. All right. And we finished our right-hand flap page. I did cut out a couple of little mushrooms, fussy cut, and put them there because I thought they were so pretty. Then over here on this left-hand flap, I went into my Darcel and I found some 4x6 journal cards. And I like how these tones work together, but I don't like these purple roses. So I fussy cut some flowers from my Pink Autumn. I'm going to glue these right down at the bottom. So now this is cohesive with the rest of our collection. And then I fussy cut this key, which I'm going to hang right here. And we're just going to make this a simple U pocket by putting a thin bead of adhesive on the left-hand side and the top and the bottom. And this is going to go right here, like that. And then this is our ATC policy envelope. And I used Annette's frame die. I folded a piece of my designer paper in half and put the top edge just above the fold. And then you get this fun little shaped flap page. And then on the back, I added a couple of little brads with brad. I forget what those are called, but there's a name for those. But they basically go under brad. And then in the pocket are small tag and a little journaling card, just for cuteness. This would be a great place to tuck in a gift card pocket, a gift card if you were giving this as a gift. And then this is going to go inside this pocket like that. Then this page flips out. All right. And I like the postage stamps at the top, but this is a little like messy. So I have a scrap of my Pink Autumn that is 5.5 by 2.5. And again, I'm just going to make a simple U pocket. I'm going to center it on our little flap page like this. I'm going to put our joyful die cut ephemera on the pocket like this. All right. And then in the pocket, this is another one of those Darcel journaling cards that I like, but I didn't like the sentiment in the middle. It was something like wild, always be wild or something like that. And it just didn't seem to fit. But I just cut a piece of my designer paper to cover up the part that I didn't like. And now we've got a little tuck in to go there. So that brings us over to, oh, and what I did here, this was it's hard when you shut down for the night and then come back the next day. So bear with me a little bit. This was 5, and this was like 6.25 by just about 7, like 6 7/8. And I just scored a 1/4-inch flap on the left, and I tucked it behind our base page, which our base page is 7.25 by 8. All right, so I just tucked the flap back behind there to make this fun turn page. Super easy. And then over here, and this is from Darcel. These are those butterflies from Darcel. Over here, I have this border strip that we cut out, and I just trimmed the top a little bit off the top to make it fit the page. Put glue on the bottom, glue on the top, a little bit of glue at the back, and now we've got a tuck spot here. So you could do a nice big picture here. And then you've got this fun little page here. So that is that page all done. And we already did this together. So that brings us in the center pocket. I just created some photo mats. I just did simple photo mats, and I'll give you the measurements. I was just using my scraps of colored cardstock. So this is a 5 by 7 of the Blackberry Bliss with a 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 of that soft pink. And then I created a tuck spot down here. I just fussy cut this out of the Pink Autumn. Just put the glue along this very bottom edge, and now I can tuck this little journal card in there. So that's cute. Then this one I made sort of like a Polaroid frame. And this is 4 by 6. And the purple piece is 3 3/4 by 4. And then I took a little scrap of my pink autumn that is 3 3/4 by 1 5/8. And then I just cut out the word pumpkin and put that in there. So these go in this pocket. And then this is just, I just put that on there like a little pull tab. I thought that was cute. And then our bookmark, which is made with the scraps. The Blackberry Bliss is 2 3/8 by 5 5/8. And then the Pale Pink is 2 1/8 by 5 1/2. And then I just pieced together 2-inch wide strips of my flower market paper and stitched it onto a slightly larger piece. This is like 2 1/4. Stitched it on there. And you can see I used this little border piece. And then I took my Joyful, I cut the sides off because they were too wide, wrapped with twine and tied a little bow, put a little mushroom down here. So this also goes in this center pocket. Our little bookmark goes in there. So that finishes that, which brings us over here. And this is another flip page that matches the other flip page. This is the large cosmos image from the second sheet of 12 by 12 paper. And I scored just it's like 1/4 of an inch on the right and put it behind our background, which is the same size as the other side, of course. And now we're just going to dress this up and then we're done. So over here, this is just fussy cut and matted on a little piece of the Blackberry. And I'm just putting adhesive along the bottom. And then this is going to go right here. Okay. And I'm going to tuck in this photo mat. I'm not going to tuck it in right now because that glue is still a little bit wet, but that's where it's going to go eventually. Actually, let's do that. That's a better fit. This is just an image. And we can cover the back with this pale pink. So it's like a journal card, you know, like a double photo mat. So let's do that. That's better over there, I think. And then, I'm not sure what that's there for. Then I fussy cut this Blessed, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to create like a little tuck spot down here at the bottom. Because I want you to have room for some nice big photos. And then here's another journal card that I didn't like the sentiment, but the color worked. So I covered it with my lavender, and this one is great just as it is. So that goes in there. And that finishes us. We are done. So our left flap closes, our right flap closes. I went ahead and installed the top flap. And now, oh, we've got a couple of postage stamps. Where do we want to put those? Let's see. I'll tell you what, let's put these inside here. Let's put one up at the top. And I just put the glue on the left on that one. And on this one, I'm just going to put a little glue on the right. And that dresses up the inside of our folio very nicely. And this can go in here. And the last thing I have is this word harmony. I'm not sure. Oh, you know what? I really like that, actually. Let's do that. How's that for a little layering? And that works. All right, I think that's everything. There are little tiny pieces like these little labels and such that you can add if you wanted to. I think I'm pretty happy though. I like the simplicity of these folios. I don't want them to get too. So our magnets are still holding. That's perfect. Close our front flap, and now we'll put our front cover on, and we're done. All right, guys, that is pretty. I like it. There we go. October Flower Market Folio, done and dusted. I'm going to add a few little sequins around, and then that's it. Thanks for joining me, friends. Kathy Clement, Kathy by Design. Take a moment, give this a like. If you'd like to drop a comment, I always answer all my comments. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would love to have you along for the creative journey. We have a lot of fun here. And now I'm going to clean up my mess and go get my craft on. Bye.